This is the story of how I did not finish all of my gift knitting this year. Hello, my name is Emily Crow from Crochet Creations and welcome to my YouTube channel. I have lots to share with you. It's been about a month since I've filmed because December was really busy. I participated in Vlogmas, so that's a video a day, and that was really fun to take you along with me. But besides Vlogmas, our December was also very, very hectic. We moved, and so you'll notice that this is a different setup than previously. I actually have a chair and a desk and some space in our new home, so I'm really excited to be here. There's definitely more I want to do in this crafting space to make it more inspirational for me and make it a better work environment, and so you'll definitely see like a full tour once I have everything figured out, though I've got the bulk of it kind of set up. I've got my yarn stash right there, and I've got my desk and books and everything. So it's exciting, lots happening. So I definitely encourage you to go check out Vlogmas. It's not just a Christmas thing or not just a December thing. You can go back and watch. I'll leave the playlist linked down below and up above so that you can watch some Vlogmas and kind of see what's been going on with us for the Christmas season, as well as moving into a new house, getting the yarn room set up, going to new yarn stores in this new area, all sorts of things. So I definitely encourage you to check that out. So things were kind of crazy for us over here, and so it's really nice to be back sitting in front of the camera, and I have lots of video ideas coming up for this new year, and hopefully I can get through them all. Georgia is no longer napping. So we shall see how much I can actually accomplish, but I have lots of ideas coming up for the next month or two. So definitely stay tuned in if you want to see a video talking about my Make 9 goals and reviewing those goals and how they went, my 2023 goals for the year, which I'm planning on doing a Make 23 in 2023 kind of video. And then I also want to do a year in review, sharing everything I knit and crocheted over the past year. And there's a lot. I have lots of things that I'm excited to share about. Today is podcast episode 27. So I have all sorts of things to share with you, basically everything that I've been working on the past month, as well as all the yarn that's come into my life in the past month, which is a lot. And I also have a giveaway winner to announce for that sock set that is waiting right there. So we will jump right into things. I didn't look up the winner. Hold on. Okay, so I had forgotten to actually pick the giveaway winner. So I took a break, looked at my computer, did the random comment generator thingy, and you know what? I have a selection now, but you'll have to wait till the end to find out who won the giveaway for this beautiful sock set that I put together from Emma's Yarn. Yay! Okay, so stay tuned for that. But now let's get into my finished objects. First, I thought that I didn't have very many, but there are a lot. Oh my goodness, so many. I have a huge pile of socks over here, but we'll start with the one non-sock thing that I can show you. This is my Ren Song Cowl by Nurture Knitwear. I tested this pattern for her. Look at that, isn't it so beautiful? I love the cables and lace together in the same pattern. I think this is just a stunning texture. So pretty. This yarn is from Voyager Yarn Company, and the color is called Creme Brulee, and I don't know, it's like a deep stash yarn, so I'm surprised that I even remember what the company is, but I'll show you. It's got some cool like tweedy bits in it, but because it's a mostly acrylic yarn, the tweedy bits are more integrated into the yarn rather than like Donegal tweed neps that are kind of like floating off of the main body of the yarn. And so I liked working with this a lot. It was super fun to see it work up. I love that it is such a neutral color, but with the pops, it just kind of blends in with all sorts of things and just a little bit different than just a basic neutral color, which I really love. Because it is mostly an acrylic yarn, it doesn't block as great as other yarns do. So you can see it's like still a little bit bunched up down here where the cables are, but I think it still opened up plenty to see the cables and the lace detailing, so I'm not worried about it. I still think it looks really nice. And it was such a pleasure to test. Megan is an awesome designer, and I really love her stuff, and I think she is underappreciated, so definitely go make sure to check her out because she is a hardworking mama and gets all sorts of really cool patterns in. Super cool. So I have that cowl, which I'm really excited. It was kind of a last minute finish. To be honest, I was kind of towards the end of the deadline on that one. Things were getting really busy as we were winding down on our time in California and getting ready to move. And we've now moved. We're in Utah now. And so this deadline was like right towards the end of our time in California. So it was just kind of not the smartest of me, but I really love this cowl and I really wanted to test it for Megan. So I did, and I love it, and it's great. So no regrets, but it definitely was a little bit crazy there for a while. Trying to get that done in time, but it worked. Okay, now I have literally socks. Only socks, I think. Yes, I only have socks. Guess how many individual socks I made during the month of December, because there's a lot. And there's a couple socks that I finished in the very tail end of November, like the last day or two of November. So basically in the past 35 days, how many socks do you think I completed? Let me know down below what your guess is, because this is a lot more socks than I anticipated working on. Though I should have figured it out based on my goals for the month, but there are lots of socks here. This is amazing. Look at this, that's so many. Oh my goodness. I also had, before I jump into socks, I also had a blanket design, like a baby blanket, throw blanket size that is going to be featured in a magazine coming up in a few months, and I was not able to share that too closely on Vlogmas or on here, and I've already sent the sample out and everything, but I will definitely let you know when that blanket has been released as part of this magazine that it was submitted for. So that was really exciting, and I spent the first like 10 or 11 days of December working exclusively on that because I was coming up on a deadline and I was getting stressed. So I'm so glad that I got that taken care of. And then I spent the rest of the month working on socks. So first, for November socks. First, in November, at the very tail end of November, I finished my Desert Vista Dyework socks. I'm only holding one up because I am lazy, but this is my pair for November. I am trying to do a pair a month, or at least that's what I did last year. I'm not sure if I'll do that this year, but I'm going to be prepared to do it if I want to. We shall see. This yarn is called the Cosmos, and it was inspired by a picture that I submitted for their colorway contest a couple months ago. I think it was like I submitted it in October and it was a colorway for November, and so I got it for free. This was really cool to get that. And then I decided to work on them for the specific month that they were designed for. I'll make sure to share the picture too so you can see the inspiration for it. And then I just used a charcoal mini because that's what I had, kind of fit the dark moody tone. And I don't know if you can see, so I did some slip stitches at the color changes, just to add a little bit more interest since I was really sick of doing vanilla stripy socks, but I didn't have any good patterns that I really wanted to use. And so I really like the texture, it kind of gives it like a sawtooth type of look. So yeah, it was just fun, really easy to kind of add on. Those are my socks. You'll notice they're not super tall. I don't like to do really tall socks. Maybe I'm lazy. I don't know, but I've always been drawn to even commercial socks that are in between ankle length and like a full crew length sock. I'm not sure what this would be called as far as the length, but I decided to make my socks that length. I think they're cute. The color palette is not necessarily one that I'm super drawn to, but I like that in getting a free skein, I get to try it out and get to appreciate it for the beauty that it is, even if it isn't my first choice of colors. I'm very much a pastel person, I think. But that's one pair of socks done. The very end of November, I cut it really close. And then I worked on a lot of gift knitting for like 15 or 16 days in December. And ooh, my neighbor just spun out trying to get out of their parking spot across the street. The road conditions are not great right now, so normally I would be grocery shopping right now and then filming later, but we're just hunkering down for a little while until the road conditions get a little better to go shopping. It's exciting. We got like 6 inches of snow last night in Utah, which is a desert. We've gotten lots of precipitation lately, which is really cool. Anyway, gift knitting. I tried really hard. I'll tell you my goals, which were outlandish. I will admit, I had finished some things ahead of time, but I had not finished enough. So for my family, my little family, me, my husband, and my daughter, who is 2, Georgia, I wanted to make matching Christmas Eve socks. So that's 3 socks right there. to make matching socks. And then I wanted to knit my family, my parents and my 2 brothers, Christmas socks because I had not made socks for them yet. And so I was delving into the world of gift knitting socks and figuring out sizing for other people that I couldn't have them try on the socks for. That's 4 more pairs of socks. That's 7 pairs of socks to gift in December, and I had only finished 1 pair and 2 individual socks by the beginning of November. So I had a lot of work to do, and spoiler, I did not make it, but it's okay, and it taught me a lot. So let's start with what I did make. And these have been worn, and so they don't look as pretty, but I finished spruce socks for my husband. This color is called Beck. It is from Mezzo Makes Fiber from their You collection. And you'll see it's kind of falling off the blocker because it's been worn. It probably needs to get washed sometime soon, but you can see these are spruce socks patterned by Originally Lovely, and this really cool texture detail makes a tree motif, and I did modify this pattern. Normally, the tree motif is on the leg of the sock, but I modified this pattern because my husband does not wear socks above the ankles, and if they are longer, he'll just scrunch it down. So there's no point putting work into a sock leg. So I switched the motif to be, instead of on the side of the leg, to be on the top of the sock, just under the cuff. And I'll include notes in my project page on Ravelry, but I'll kind of explain how I did that here. Because on all 3 pairs of our socks, I ended up needing to do some modification to make it fit. I knit a short cuff and a very short leg, like 5 rounds or something. I did a heel flap, and then I picked up stitches along the heel flap to get ready to do the gusset decreases. And then there's a certain stitch count that is required to complete this tree motif. And I made sure that that full stitch count was on the front part of the sock. So that meant I needed to borrow a few stitches that would normally be within the gusset or on the sole of the sock and move them to the instep needle, if that makes sense. So then I was able to do the motif that kind of, it almost wrapped around the very top of the sock, since it was more than the 32 stitches for the size I did for my husband's instep. And so it actually worked out really well, honestly. Let me see if I can show you. So I think it worked out really well. You can see kind of the motif wraps around just a little bit, but it fits pretty well. And there was only 1 or 2 rounds that I did this motif and the gusset on that I had to like do a decrease in a weird spot that like made me have to move my stitch marker. Like honestly, it was really, really simple and it was intimidating to me, but I'm really proud of myself for doing that. And then once I finished the tree motif, it was just knitting until the toe. So mostly a stockinette sock once this cool texture was done. I am doing the same texture on my sock, and I'll show that to you later. What's really helpful is that my husband and I have the same circumference of foot because I have very wide hobbit feet and he has very skinny feet. So his feet are definitely longer than mine. Why this is falling off the blocker. But we have the same stitch count, which is really easy for me to be able to apply the same modifications from his sock to my sock. I also made socks for Georgia. You're so cute. I don't have any cute blockers for her socks, though I really want to get them. I should probably just order some. Ta-da! I did a 48 total stitch count sock. My husband and I have 64 stitch count socks. So 48 for my daughter. And what I did, this is a little bit more complicated I feel like, but I made the socks mirror so that that stitch pattern on the leg was opposite each other. And so the inside of the sock was blank so that the outside you could see the motif kind of mirrored, which is really cool. How I did that was I just did one sock following the pattern and I figured out that these outside trees lined up really well along the creases of the sock, like the front and the back, which meant that I just had one gap left, which made me think that I should just do it mirrored on the other side. And so for the second sock, all I did was knit an extra half a round to kind of reorient my sock 180 degrees. It was super easy. I just made sure to like put my socks next to each other and make sure I was doing the heel in the right spot. But the biggest part was just starting the tree motif on the correct side of the sock. I think I just did the half around at the beginning before the motif, and then I was able to just knit like I normally do for that pattern. So finished that. So cute. I do feel like this variegated yarn is a little bit darker, and also it's a little busy for a texture like this, but it's subtle and I think you can still kind of see it. It's cute still. My socks are still a whip, so we will get to those later. That is the first pair I did not finish, but I did finish my family socks, so they were able to wear them for Christmas Eve, which I was happy about, though it would have been really nice to have mine too. And then talking about my family for Christmas, my parents and my brothers, I already said I finished 2 single socks and 1 full pair, so that meant I only had to do... Oh, I guess I had started another pair, so that makes out, like that checks out now. Okay, so I had 1 pair finished, I had 2 socks completed, so I needed 2 more to finish those pairs. And then I had started the 3rd pair that was unfinished. So I had basically 4 socks to finish. And I finished 3 of them, though I only finished 2 of them in time for actual Christmas. But if you watch my vlogs from Vlogmas, you'll know that our flight was canceled to go from Utah to New York. And so we ended up being here for Christmas, even though we were supposed to be in New York, which was really, really sad. And it's okay. We're gonna fly out sometime in January and have a belated Christmas with them. So I'm glad we can do that. But so with the winter storm Elliott that happened and the flights getting canceled, everything was just so crazy that we weren't able to go. So really sad. Our flight had been canceled and pushed back like 2 or 3 times. And by then, we were only going to be in New York for a couple days, and it just wasn't worth the money. So we decided to cancel our flight, which is good because even flights on the day that we were supposed to end up leaving after Christmas were canceled. So I'm sure that flight was canceled as well, and we just would have been totally out of luck. So we are using that flight credit to go visit my family later. So that means that I have a little buffer time to work on Christmas presents. But what I did finish my dad's socks. Ta-da! I finished both of them since last podcast. They are huge. He just has a 72 stitch count sock, but he really wanted a tall sock, so I think I did 55 rounds under the cuff on just the leg. They are so long. They took forever to knit because I'm not used to making really, really tall socks. And of course his foot is a little bit longer than my walkers too. But I used Knit Picks Stroll Tweed in the color Prussian Heather. They're very tweedy. And I don't really like knitting with tweed because if you see all that texture, like I just want to pick all those tweedy bits out because they're just hanging off of my yarn. So I've been really good about not doing that for my dad's socks. Was trying out Stroll Tweed, and I honestly like the base except for the tweed, which I kind of already knew about myself, so that is fine. But it's this nice dark navy blue color, but it's this nice dark navy blue color. He has the socks, they're all blocked. Glad to get those off my list. After I finished the first sock, which I had to finish in December, I was then able to do the second sock. So I just pounded through both of them, got his socks done and blocked. They smell good. Yay, those are ready. And then I think it was Christmas Eve, and we already knew we weren't going to visit my family for Christmas. We had decided like the day before when we found our flight had been pushed back like 4 days. I had been working on this sock, and then I realized, you know what? It's not gonna get there for Christmas. I'm gonna let it go. And so I cast on something else. But I finished this sock a couple days after Christmas because it wasn't a priority anymore. And I haven't even blocked it yet, but I need to. But this is my brother's sock. I just used Knit Picks, their regular stroll line in the colors black and strawberry because he wanted black and red socks. It's a shorty, which is nice. Didn't take too long to work up. All these socks are vanilla, by the way, that I made my parents and my brothers. So I'm really glad to have finished that. I just need to block it, but then his pair is totally done. That leaves my twin brother, whose sock I've started. So I'll share with you his second sock, but I did not finish the pair yet. And I'll need to mail him his socks, but I probably need to do something else for like a Christmas present to like make up for the fact that it's coming so late. It's fine. It is what it is. But like I said, when I realized I wasn't gonna finish the socks in time for Christmas, And even if I did power through them, I wouldn't get them to my family in time for Christmas. I gave myself permission to work on something that would bring me joy. So that is my Advent socks. I got the Stress Knits Plenty Holidays Countdown Calendar this year, and I wanted to make the 24 days sock pattern by Potter and Bloom. I had to do some math to figure out how I wanted to make this happen because the pattern is written to just rotate through the stripes as many times as you need to get the length that you want, but I wanted to use every color only once. And so I had to do some math to figure out kind of my plan for how many rows to do on the leg versus the foot, and I had to do some measuring after I had done a few rows to just check my gauge and figure out then how many colors should be on the foot versus the leg and kind of figure that all out. And it worked out perfectly, honestly. And I finished the majority of this sock on Christmas Eve because I just threw everything else by the wayside, knowing I wouldn't reach my deadlines. I gave myself permission to work on this, and that was so fun. Opening up the Advent calendar, it was fun, but I feel like I was not really appreciating it. It was an all-tonal mini calendar with a variegated and speckled main skein. And opening up all those tonal minis, it was like, oh, cool. But then like, I just put them off to the side. And so I wasn't really appreciating the colors. And so pulling out my sock and working on it made me really see how beautiful all those colors were, and seeing them worked up, it just really inspired me. And I loved it. It was so fun to work up, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm excited to see what else I can make with my Advent calendar since these socks did not take up very much yarn at all. Are you ready to see them now? Because I've been putting it off and stringing you along for it. Ta-da! So beautiful. So many beautiful colors. Ooh, how do I even pick? I love Stacy from Stress Knits. Her color palettes are beautiful. She has this really great sense of color, and I love this. I think some of my favorite colors, let's see. I love, love, love this really light lilac-y color. This brown color is like a cafe au latte color. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correct, but it's just a beautiful, like, yummy brown. What else do I really, really like? Honestly, I really, really like the variegated. It's called In My Hometown, and I think it matches so many of these colors so well. And like I said, seeing it in the skein, seeing it balled up, I liked it, but seeing it worked up, I loved it. So pretty. And so what I did was I did 5 stripes on the leg to make kind of a shorty sock, a little bit taller than an ankle sock. And then I did 19 stripes on the foot. And then I did the toe in the variegated color, so I could still feature the main skein without having to wait until Christmas Day to open it and then use that as like the main color in the sock. So I am really happy with how it turned out. I think that the white was a really good choice to contrast all these colors, and her colors are more light and airy and pastel-y and less saturated colors, and so the white was a good choice for the main color, I think. And then having the toe means I can still feature the main skein. So I'm really happy with how these turned out. So I finished one of these on Christmas Day because I caught up on Christmas Eve, and then I finished the other sock on New Year's Eve, kind of. I finished Kitchener-ing the toe at like 12:10 a.m. on New Year's Day, but I hadn't gone to bed yet for New Year's, and so I still feel like these count for 2022. Let me know what you think, if you would count them for 2022 or 2023, because technically I finished knitting them at like 12:05 a.m. January 1st. But I hadn't gone to bed yet, so they're a 2022 finished object. But let me know what you think, because I feel like it's a controversial topic. After working on so many socks for the month of December, I still had socks to do. Not a good choice on my part, because I'm very burned out on socks right now, but I still needed to finish my Desert Vista Dye Works monthly socks for the month of December. I got this color. It's called Victorian Christmas. Since this was our first Christmas in our Victorian house, our house is 150 years old, and it's got lots of character and charm. And so I thought this would be perfect. And actually this tan color matches our floors really well. So not intentional, a cool like vintagey color. I love, love, love this. I got it in Desert Vista Dye Works DK weight base. I'm not sure what it's called. And then I also had a cranberry mini skein that I used for the toe and the heel. I did a Fish Lips Kiss heel. And something that I'm working on for my short row heels is making the foot a little bit longer, since I felt like my short row heel was kind of sliding down, like it was getting pulled too much down. And so I'm gonna try to give my foot a little bit more room so that it doesn't slide down. And I hope that that'll really work for me, because I like how the Fish Lips Kiss heel fits, but I find that with wearing, my socks don't stay on the way I like them. And the Fish Lips Kiss heel is so fun to knit, so I really hope I can get it to work out. But yes, these are DK weight, so they worked up super fast in like 3 days. And so I started these were my Christmas cast on, since I had thrown all my gift knits out the window and was not gonna worry about them since they weren't gonna be done for Christmas anyway. So I cast this on for Christmas so I could finish it by the end of the year. And because they were DK weight, that was no problem at all. So finished these socks, love, love, love. I thought I was gonna use the olive green mini I had, but I ended up not liking it. It just differed too much from the olive green in these socks. So I switched to the cranberry, which is a much closer match to the cranberry in this sock pattern. And I know that I just have a hard time with contrasts. I really want the contrast to match and coordinate with the sock really well rather than contrast it starkly. And so sometimes I have a hard time if the colors don't match super well, but I am really happy with how these turned out. You'll see I have a couple random pink spots on my socks. That's from blocking, because red dye tends to run when you wash things. And I knew that, but I didn't have a color catcher, and I just took my chances, and now there's a couple random pink spots on my socks, and that's fine. That's how it is sometimes with the dyeing. It reminds me that I do need to buy some color catcher. Yeah, I need to buy some. The last pair of socks that I finished in 2022 are my laid edges socks. If you've been watching my channel, then you knew that I had these like 98% of the way done. And then I ran out of yarn on the last toe. I only needed like 3 more yards. I made the cuff a bit too long for the mini that I had, and I kind of knew it as I was knitting it, but I was just following the pattern. This is Laid Edges by Kelly McPherson. And I just followed the pattern anyway and ran out of yarn. So I had to order another mini from Dyeing Wishes Yarn Co. This is from Sarah's Autumn Equinox box. And so this is the color Basic Birch. I love it. And then this is the color Pumpkin Spice. But after the box, she did a pre-order collection of all the colors in the box, as well as a couple new colors called the Autumn in New England collection. So I ordered another mini, and what I did, because they looked like they match really well, if we put them next to each other, I think they do really match. I think the dye lots, even though they're different, coordinate really, really well. And so I might not have even noticed a difference, but I just thought it was easier, since I had the mini, to just rip back the toe on one and redo it in just the mini, so I wouldn't have to worry about a strange like color change at the dye lot change, if that makes sense. Since I had the yarn to do that, I thought I would just do that, and I think it worked out great. It was super easy, literally just had to do a toe on a DK weight sock, and then they were done. So really excited to have these finished. Now I have a bunch of cozy DK weight socks, yay! This pattern is so fun to do, and in my vlog where I tried to knit this pair of socks in a day, I actually do a little mini tutorial on how to do this texture, since I feel like the pattern's a little vague. It is a free pattern, but if you want some help to do that texture, you can just watch my little mini tutorial in the middle of that vlog. You know I didn't finish that pair during the vlog, but you should watch and see how far I got within a day, being a mom, doing household stuff, preparing for a move, and knitting a pair of socks. All right, since we're already on the sock train, I might as well just share with you how far I got on the other socks I was intending to finish in December that are still works in progress. I do have a couple other works in progress to share with you too, so it's not all socks, but it's mostly socks. This is my brother's sock. I finished the cuff and I started the heel. I'm like maybe 4 rows into the heel. I am doing an 80 stitch count sock, which might be too big, but he also has like a size 12 foot. And I tried to base my stitch counts and row counts off of the measurements he gave me. So we'll see. They might be a little bit looser and cozier, like house socks, than wearables, but we'll just have to finish the sock and find out. Oh, I should tell you what color it is. Sorry, I'm like so bored of socks right now, so I have no emotion attached to these socks right now, but it would be really good to finish because this is the last gift knit sock that I want to do for a long time. This color is Nipix Stroll Tonal in the color Train Station. So he wanted a black. My brothers want black socks. Never again, never again. I thought people were exaggerating when they said that they didn't like knitting with black yarn, but you literally can't see your stitches. And so it's really hard to read your knitting, which is a huge pain in the butt. But yes, he wanted an ankle sock. So I am doing an ankle sock, but it is a big sock. So that'll still take a while, but I'm gonna try to prioritize working on that a little bit every day so I can get it done definitely by the end of January and get it shipped off to my brother so he can enjoy a pair of socks. Okay, the last pair of socks that are whips right now. This is my spruce sock, and you'll notice I used different color than my other socks. And the reason is I'm running out of my Beck from Meso Makes. It was really just an experiment. I wanted to see if I could make 2 pairs of ankle socks and a pair of toddler socks with 100 gram skein, and I can't, because I was thinking that my socks use less than 50 grams. I think my husband's use less than 50 grams. My toddlers don't use very many, but my husband's socks actually used more than 50 grams, like 54 grams. And then my toddler socks use like 34 grams for the pair. So not gonna happen. I think next year I might try to do like 2 100 gram skeins or something like that. I still don't think like a full sock set with a 20 gram mini would cut it, but now I have a better idea on what I can make with 100 grams of yarn. So I pulled something else from my stash. This is Woolberry Fiber Co. in the color Vintage Ornament. I figured it was a nice high contrast, and because it's a light color, I thought you might be able to see the tree texture a little better. Not sure though, because it is still variegated, but I am on the foot. I've got maybe 20 rounds to go-ish, and then I'll do the toe. I'll do the toe in the green, and then I'll make the second sock just like this. This is still the first sock. And then what I'm gonna do is go back through and use leftover of Vintage Ornament. I'm gonna rip back the toes of my husband's sock and put this yarn in as the toe to kind of tie our socks together a little bit better so that it's not just mine that are different, just to kind of mix things up. I probably won't do anything to George's socks, but to my husband's, that's the plan. So these are just kind of working on. I know that I didn't have them done for Christmas, so I wasn't able to match my family, but I still do want to have a pair of this pattern. I do like the pattern, so I'm still making them even though they're not ready for Christmas. I'll wear them next year for Christmas. And I'm keeping this sock in my White Rose Fiber Co bag that I got for Sockmas that I didn't finish any pairs for Sockmas this year, so whoops. But that's a whip, and I have a ways to go on it, but right now it's just easy knitting, so just kind of taking it easy right now with the socks, because I really don't want to work on socks right now. I'm gonna have to cut out so much yawning. Oh my goodness. I had one other small Advent project that I was working on. I say working on, but I literally only sat down for like an hour and worked on this project. So is it a whip? I don't know. I do still want to make it. I definitely missed the boat on the whole like mystery knit along, daily Advent knitting, and it makes me sad, but I had other things going on and life was just busy. I know now better of what I can accomplish in December, and hopefully next year we're not moving, and hopefully next year I'm not crocheting a whole blanket. I didn't crochet a whole blanket. I had a good start on it. I was like 30 or 40% of the way done, but there was still lots of crocheting left to do. Hopefully I won't do that next year. I got the Gnome Made Gifts pattern by Sarah Shearer. It was their December Advent gnome knit along, and I knit the scarf. That is all I made, was this cute little scarf. So that's kind of embarrassing. Maybe my next podcast I will have started working on the other bits of the gnome, because I love the gnomes I've done for the other mystery knit alongs. This will be a little different since I'm not doing the gnome as part of the knit along. So we'll see how I enjoy that experience, but I really have enjoyed the mystery knitting aspect that I've done with my other gnomes. This one will be an experiment and we'll see how much I enjoy it, but I thought that this was really cute, so I would like to still finish it, and I have all of my scraps set aside in a bag ready to go to knit on this gnome. Maybe when I finish my gift knit sock for my brother, then I'll pull out the gnome as like a little reward to do something small and fun. Okay, and I have to share with you this. Oh, what am I doing? Am I in the middle of a row? Guess I am. I never stop in the middle of a row. I have my husband's Christmas sweater. Yes, another Christmas gift knit that I didn't finish in time. I knew ahead of time by like December 15th, I knew like I wasn't gonna finish it. So let it go. And my husband told me, it was really sweet. He said, I'm gonna like it just as much whenever you finish it. Like it doesn't need to be finished for Christmas. I'm still gonna prioritize knitting on this pattern because I really wanna get him this sweater, but there's no set deadline anymore. I'm gonna finish it before his birthday in August. This is the biggest piece. This is the back panel and I'm almost done with it. I am just starting to work on the shoulders. Ta-da! Yay! And this Tacosaurus from Deli Dino, is starting to fall apart because I'm a little rough with it, I guess. But it's not marking since last time. Last time I was like way down here. I have put a lot of work into it because after I finished my blanket design, I just worked on this exclusively like every evening for a few hours. But this is marking where the armhole starts so I can more easily measure because there's a lot of measurements in the pattern. It's got this cool, like almost quilted design because it alternates between stockinette and cabled sections. So super fun. I think it'll block out a lot bigger. You can kind of see the texture a little easier. But like I said, I'm coming up on the shoulders, so I do not have a lot of knitting left to do on this back panel. I was kind of hoping to have it finished, but I just haven't picked it up in a couple weeks, honestly. But I got lots of work done on it at the beginning. So by next time, I want to have the back panel finished. It's a cardigan by Martin Story. I don't know if I said it's called Viking. And so it's got like the two front panels, the sleeves, the back panel, and then there's a shawl collar. I still have to delete a lot of Vlogmas videos from my phone. I ran out of storage. So this cardigan has a back panel, two front panels, two sleeves, and it also has a shawl collar. So the biggest piece is definitely this back panel. And so that'll feel really good to get that done really soon. So hopefully I can work on it soon and have at least the back panel finished by the next time I chat with you. And then my last whip that I got to work on last night. Yay! This is my Find Your Fade shawl. And I was really hoping to get this done by the end of the year, but I chose to finish 3 pairs of socks before New Year's rather than just maybe working on a shawl. And I'm glad I did because once I started working on this shawl last night, I realized just how much work I still had to do. I felt like I was close, but there's still like 80 rows left. That's a lot of knitting. Ta-da! My Find Your Fade is so hard to show because it's getting so big, but you'll see I'm getting really close. This center spine is traveling like 1 stitch over every other row. And so once it gets to the very end, then my shawl is done and I cast off. So I'm not too far off, but I've got like right now I've got like maybe 35 more stitches, which means like 70 more rows. So I am starting to fade in my very last color. Once I'm done fading, then I'll switch to my last lace section and then I'll do the last garter stitch section. So these colors, here we go. This color, which will be my last color, is Ceramic. It's all by Sorella Yarn from their Fall Tonals collection. This is Ceramic. This color is Cashmere. This color, this berry color, is called Charlotte, and then this brown is called Videri. It's like a warm chocolatey brown. So what I did is I followed all of the instructions for fading for the first half of the shawl, and then I realized that I didn't have the same amount of yarn for each color, and so I wouldn't be able to fade the same way for the second half of the shawl. I just decided to knit until I was really close to being done with the yarn and then switch. So yeah, you'll see that these look pretty even, how they faded out, and then the very end is just kind of using up my yarn. So definitely not ideal, but it is what it is, and I'm using up some yarn, so it's fine. It's fine. I would not want a lot of this color left over per se, but it will be a good contrast to use in like color work and socks and things, so I don't think it'll be bad. Like I'll find a good use for it, but some of these other colors are so beautiful that I'm sad that I used them all up, honestly. I would want more of those, but I'm getting there. Last night, I finished from my little cookie stitch marker that I made myself, and so I did like probably an inch or so, and so that's a really good chunk of time. I think if I just work on this regularly, I might finish. I'll finish whenever, but this was on my Make 9 list for this past year, and I was really hoping to finish it because of that, but it's okay that it's not. I started it on Valentine's Day last year, so someone suggested in a previous video that I should just make that my goal to finish it before Valentine's Day, and I think that that is totally doable. So that is like my new soft goal, is to finish this by then. It's easy knitting, it's garter and lace. It's been boring to work on, but I'm really excited for the finished product. Oh, Find Your Fade is by Andrew Mowry, if you didn't know. I just think I need a more interesting shawl pattern to work on. That garter stitch was not my jam, to be honest. If I want something simple, then I knit vanilla socks. So garter stitch shawl was not for me, I think. Okay, since it's been over a month since I've talked to you, I have an embarrassing amount of yarn and things to show you. Oh, I forgot my hooks. Since we were moving from California, I made sure to stop by one of the local yarn stores there. It was Uncommon Threads in Los Altos, and I got a few things before we moved. I also went to 2 local yarn stores here in Utah. I went to Heinzelman's, which is the oldest yarn store in the US, they say. And then I also went to Harmony, which is actually just down the road, and it's also a fabric store. So a little bit more crafty and eclectic, whereas Heinzelman's is more focused on the fiber arts specifically. So I went to 3 local yarn stores and purchased things. And then I also have all the yarn that I got in the mail in the past 5 weeks, 6 weeks. So it ended up adding up to a lot. So I'm gonna try to go through this really quickly, especially because of the battery on my phone. All things that I love and all things I'm excited about. So at Uncommon Threads, they had like a buy one, get one, 60% off sale. I made sure to grab a skein of Spin Cycle yarn. This is the color Dead Reckoning. It's got this beautiful like teal and purple together. My thought was, I have a hard time with Spin Cycle garments because of the variability, and I don't know, it's hard for me to know that I'll love it. And so I got 1 skein of this because there's a sweater called Haven. I'll make sure to put the information on the screen because I can't quite remember. It uses only 1 skein of Spin Cycle in my size. And I mean, it's a really close call, so maybe I'll run out of yarn, who knows. But I figured that I would grab a skein of Spin Cycle while I saw it and I knew that I really liked this colorway, so that when I'm ready to knit that sweater, I'm ready to go. So I made sure to snag that because of the sale. I also made sure to snag this skein that I've been eyeing for literally every single time I go into Uncommon Threads. I just touch this yarn and I can't think of a good product for it, but I just couldn't leave it behind any longer. This is the Fiber Company, Road to China, and the yarn is literally the softest yarn I've ever touched. It is a sport weight yarn. It is a blend of cashmere, camel, silk, and alpaca. It is literally the softest yarn I've ever touched in my life. I love it so much. And this color is called Gray Pearl. Someone suggested I make a Sophie scarf with it, so that might be fun and very comfy on my neck. I also grabbed the new copy of Lina magazine. At least I think this is the new one. Yeah, autumn 2022. Winter might be out by now, but I just was flipping through and maybe half of these patterns I would want to make. I don't have a copy of Lina magazine already, so I thought it would be fun to have a copy to kind of look at how I like this magazine compared to other fiber arts magazines. I do have like a small smattering of magazines, just a couple different kinds, and I haven't really settled on 1 or 2 that I really love per se. So I thought it would be fun to look at this one, since a lot of these patterns were ones that I was eyeballing already, and so now I have them in my possession and I can make them. Who knows when? I have a lot of things on my to make list. This is in no particular order. I'm just trying to be efficient because I've got lots to share. I went to the 2 local yarn stores near me here in Utah. Heinzelman's was first. And I found this is Raven Frog Fibers, and it is actually hand dyed locally. I think they are originally from Alaska, and they now live really close to me, which is really cool. I grabbed 2 different skeins, and these are both bases I've never worked with before, and so that is kind of what drove me to actually purchase them instead of just oogling at them, because they had lots of really beautiful colors. This is their BFL blade. This is their BFL blade. Oh my gosh. This is their BFL base called Beautiful, and it is an 80/20 blue face Leicester and nylon blend. I looked it up. It's pronounced Leicester, even though it does not look like Leicester. And so it's a nice hardy yarn. This color is called Vermillion, which is super fun. So I'm excited to see how this works up. It might be fun for like cables or something. I do not have a lot of solids and tonals in my stash for socks and shawls and things. And so I figured that this would be really good to add to my collection. And then this skein is called Stormy Seas. Beautiful, beautiful. That fading ombre-ish. This is the Neps base, which is an 80/20 superwash merino and nylon with black Neps. So the black Neps are part of the nylon. And I really like how it's fingering weight. And so it'll be fun to make some tweedy socks. And I know what you're thinking. I talked about how I don't really like tweed, but if you look, the tweed is more integrated into the yarn. And so I think I'll enjoy working with this more than tweed bases that have Donegal tweed that is like pulling off of the yarn. So we'll see how that works up. I think this will be a great pair of wintry socks. Not sure what I'll make with them, but it is really beautiful. And there were a lot of colors that I admired, so I definitely imagine that I will go back and pick up some more sometime. At Harmony, now Harmony definitely has a very different feel, and I recommend that you check out my Vlogmas vlog where I explored both of these shops so you can get a sense. Very different feel, and I definitely want to go back to Harmony and get some fabric when I am ready to start a sewing project because they had so many beautiful selections and it just had the right kind of atmosphere. I just wanted to be there. And here's another thing, Heinzelman's did not have a lot of sock yarn options, whereas I felt like there were more options at Harmony, even though it's a much smaller store. And that's what I'm more drawn to is sock yarns, honestly. But they did have at Harmony Sinful Yarn, which is also local. I looked it up and they are in the same county as me. I can't quite remember what town, but this is the color Peach Cobbler. I saw this in their display and I grabbed it immediately because I knew I was gonna buy it. It is an 85/15 superwash merino wool and nylon blend, which is more common in the yarn stores that I hadn't ever seen before offered by dyers. So that's interesting that it's becoming more common. So let me know what kind of sock blend you enjoy most. I've seen 75/25, 80/20, and now 85/15. I have a couple skeins of sock yarn in that blend. Let me know what you like. And then this color I could not pass up. It's called Knit Together with Harmony. It is an exclusively dyed colorway for the Harmony store. It matches their store windows and their mural. So fun and colorful. And I thought this would be perfect, not only because it's an exclusive colorway and so fun, but this would be a great mood boost in the dead of winter. So maybe in like February when I really need a mood boost and I need to work on something happy and cheery, those would be great. And then I found this mini. It's called SI and AM. It's the same 85/15 base that the other skeins are, but it's got this pink and this cream and this beige and this brown, and it was just so cute, and I don't know what I'll make with it, but I couldn't leave it there. It was like the only mini left, and it was just so cute and beautiful. Yeah, I don't know what I'll make with it. Might be a fun contrast for some other socks, but he could not be left behind and needed to come home with me. And then I've got a bunch of yarn that I got in the mail. Sorry if I'm going really fast, but you can literally see all of these skeins, for the most part, featured in my Vlogmas because I shared as I got them in the mail or as I picked them up from my in-laws' house because I had some mail sent there during the move. So you can see it all there. So if you want to take a closer look, make sure to check out my Vlogmas. We will start on this side. I won a giveaway from Treehouse Knits, and it was just like a $50 gift card, which was awesome, for one of her recent collections, her Stranger Things collection. And I had not planned on purchasing from the collection because of budgeting. And because of the gift card, I was able to purchase, which is so fun. So I got 2 skeins of this. This is Organic Decay Non-Superwash, which is a newer base for her, in the color I piggybacked from a pizza dough freezer. And I have not watched Stranger Things because I don't have Netflix. I love this icy blue colorway with the grays, and I really wanted to try non-superwash. So my plan for this, because I've got 2 skeins, is to make a ranunculus sweater. And I think it'll be really fun to work up. A lot of people combine like mohair and fingering weight. I want to try to use DK weight for the gauge, and I've heard it works up really fast and it doesn't use a lot of yarn. So I did the math. I think this will work. It'll be really fun to see how it turns out and to work up with some non-superwash yarn, since I've only worked with very little non-superwash yarn, but I've loved every skein I have touched that is non-superwash, that is like not super rustic-y. This is very soft, but it's got a good like tooth and grip to it, and so I'm really excited to work with that. I also got some yarn in the mail sent from Kimber of Kimber's Cozy Creations, which is so kind of her to think of me. I mentioned in a previous video, I think it was my unpopular fiber related opinions video, like my hot takes video, where I mentioned I had never worked with Surrey before, though I had worked with mohair. She reached out and said that she would love to send me some Surrey yarn to try out, which is so generous. And so I have an idea in mind for a pattern. I'm not sure if it'll be knit or crochet. I need to gauge swatch and figure out which fabric I like better. But I'm gonna be using these yarns from Kimber. These two are in the color Purpinkle, and this one is called Berry. And I thought that these would go so well together. So these two are Surrey, and then this is my main skein. I'm gonna hold these together. So I'm gonna have the Berry and the Purpinkle as the cuff of a mitten or a fingerless mitt. And then after the cuff, I'm gonna switch to the Purpinkle and do that for the rest of the mitt. So that is kind of my vision. We'll see what craft I do and we'll see how it turns out. I'm really excited. I was telling Kimber that this is like the perfect bright color palette for maybe like a Valentine's Day pattern release. So I think this will be perfect to work on. I should cast this on soon. I'm so excited. The Surrey is really soft, and because it's an alpaca fiber rather than a goat fiber, it'll behave a little bit different in how it blooms when you block it, and also like with its feel, like softness wise versus itchiness wise. So I'm really excited to try that out. It is some really beautiful colors, and she's doing a monthly club for some skeins of yarn, and the inspiration for January is a beautiful Aurora. So I definitely grabbed a sock set for that. And then also she released another colorway on the 1st, which is Cup of Cheer, and so I got a sock set of that. So she's got lots of really fun colors, so I definitely recommend checking her out down below. I had waiting for me here in Utah this beautiful sock set from Coast to Coast Yarn Co, and it actually shipped in November, way earlier than I expected it to come. But this is their Book Tropes colorways, and this is called Unexpected Friendship with a Loyal Companion Mini, and it's getting blown out just like a little bit, but it is a very warm, light neutral. So I got a sock set because I love sock sets and I love both of these colors. I do not know what I'll make with them, but they're just so beautiful and warm. They just make me happy to look at, even though they're neutrals. I feel like sometimes neutrals can feel boring, but these do not feel boring at all. They are stunning. So I'm really excited about that. I have so much new yarn. Oh my goodness. Dying Wishes Yarn Co. I had already mentioned I purchased a pumpkin spice mini. I also grabbed some other skeins from their Autumn and New England collection. You can create your own sock set, and so I put a mini in with this one. This color is called Before the Fall. This is all on the DK weight base, by the way, which is a 75-25 superwash merino and nylon. This is called Brick, and then I just bought an undyed skein from her. I had talked to Sarah and was able to figure that out. This is a perfect Christmas color palette. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna make a holiday doodle cowl by Jamie Lomax of Pacific Knit Co, or a holiday doodle stocking, or use the stocking motifs in a sock design for myself, like a personal sock design. I don't really know. It's not Christmas right now, so I'm not gonna worry about it for a little bit. Maybe that'll be next year's Christmas socks. I'm not sure, but I thought it would be really fun to use some more DK weight sock yarn because I do not have a lot, and I'm really feeling the draw towards DK weight since they work up fast. I would love to design a pair or two of DK weight socks because it's not as common, but it is so fun and quick to knit up. So I need to be on the lookout for more DK weight sock yarns. Last package, Desert Vista Dye Works. I needed a few more skeins to kind of ride me out through the beginning of next year. So I participated in their monthly sock club. I started in July just for the second half of the year, but already I'm feeling kind of tired of it. So I'm glad I didn't start at the beginning of the year and then feel obligated and committed to complete the whole year. I'm glad I did the 6 months, and I'll get a free skein of yarn from that. And I also got a coupon code, which is why I purchased this yarn. But I got some skeins that I look forward to using at the beginning of next year so that if I want to, I can still participate in this monthly sock club. You can knit a hat using a full skein of yarn. You can knit a pair of socks. You can knit 2 pairs of shorty socks. You can knit some mittens or 2 pairs of like short mittens. There's some combinations, but I wanted to be prepared so that for these first couple months, if I want to participate, I still can, but I'm also not requiring myself to do so. Giving myself the room. If I want to work on something, I can. So I already showed you some things I got. The Victorian Christmas colorway. I also picked up Winter Rainbow, and this is like 50 grams each of these 2 colors. And I'm going to use this for some Rainbow Connection socks by Kayla In. I purchased the pattern. I thought it was really cool texturally and just visually to look at. And then I realized you need 50 grams of the contrast color. So I was not able to work on it when I intended to. And so now I have my skeins and I can make a pair of Winter Rainbow Connection socks. And then I also grabbed, this is Mermaid Party. Some beautiful grays, blues, and a lot of self-striping yarn in general has like lots of high contrast colors. I like that this is lower contrast. All the colors kind of blend together a little bit more color palette wise. And I think I'm gonna make a muscle burrow with this. I just need something different than socks, and so I need to cast on. I was thinking about doing that yesterday, but I might cast on today or tomorrow and just work on a muscle burrow and see how far it goes. See if I end up trying to finish it in the month or not. But I figured another hat would be good. I would enjoy a hat in these colors, and it would be a good way to participate in the make along without doing socks if I cared to do so. So I got that. And I also grabbed a few minis. I have some other minis in here too, but I grabbed a handful of minis that were in colors that I had used up previously because it's, you know, part of the color palette that I really enjoy or that I thought would go with some of these yarns that I purchased. So that was like the cranberry mini that I had with my Victorian Christmas. So I grabbed a few minis, and now I have all of my minis for Desert Vista Dye Works in a bag so that when I need one, I know where to get them and they're not mixed up with other minis I have. I guess I have my Stress Knits Advent, which you saw showcased in the Advent socks that I made. It's been a yarn aplenty kind of a month. I mean, it didn't all come at once, it just kind of spread out, but it's been a long time since I've talked to you, and so it's added up for sure. Now I need spots for all this yarn. I reorganized my yarn shelf. I have created some spots. I've tried to organize so that the top row is things I'm inspired to work on really soon, and then my other yarns are also out and available so that I can be inspired by them too when the time arises. You can definitely watch my craft room reorganization vlog where I started setting things up. And don't worry, I will make sure to share a tour when it's all said and done, which is not too far off actually. I want to hang up some things here, some things on my wall here, over here. So lots of hanging things to kind of get stuff off the floor and to organize a little bit better with the supplies I have, but not too far off from being finished with that. Oh my goodness, so much to share. But I think it is time for the giveaway winner. I'll throw it up on the screen so you can see who won this beautiful sock set. And if I remember correctly, the name is Rob Red. So congratulations on winning. Definitely make sure to email me. My email is crochetcreations@gmail.com and let me know that you are the giveaway winner so then I can coordinate with you and send you this package. So fun. Thank you so much, all of you, for being here. I have grown. I did this giveaway for my 500 subscribers and I'm already almost to 550, which is really cool. And I'm really grateful to have you here and to have you following along with my fiber arts journey and the things that I'm sharing here. It just brings me a lot of joy to connect with you. It's not about the numbers, but I do really appreciate every single one of you. And I appreciate being able to chat with you down in the comments. I appreciate those of you who reach out to me on Ravelry or on Instagram that I can connect with you that way as well. Thank you so much, even if you didn't win the giveaway. I'm really grateful that you're here. I hope that you are excited about the content I have coming up just like I am. And I have a lot of things I'm really excited about sharing with you. We are still in a transitional phase of moving into our house, figuring things out. I'm looking for a job. I'm a nurse, and so I'm looking for a new job. I'm ready to start working again. So I'm not sure what the future of this channel will look like, but it will definitely still be here and I will still have content coming out. It just might not be every week or twice a week as I, sometimes was able to do, but I'll try to get as much out to you in this first month of the year as possible to kind of inspire you and to share where my making journey is going for the rest of the year. There's lots to clean up now, so I need to say goodbye, but again, thank you so much for being here. Definitely let me know down below what projects you enjoyed seeing me show here with you, or what yarns you were admiring that I was sharing. Also, make sure to share with me any gift knitting that you did or gift crocheting and what you were able to accomplish, and maybe what you're gifting late like I am. Let me know down below so that we can connect in that way, because that is honestly my favorite part about this channel. And until next time, happy making. Bye!